You know, there's something about the British weather here that really puts me in a nappy mood. I'm not a napper, but it's just a napping culture. Hey, I'm Glen Powell, and this is Freeze Frame for British Esquire.
Dodge whatever's in there. It's big and it's moving fast. Drive. Go, go, go!
What do you see?
Already has a nice structure. Moisture levels are just right and lots of cape.
What else are you seeing?
Flow is clean, pulling tons of warm, moist air from the south.
And when that warm air and moisture busts through the cap.
Daisy Edgar-Jones, Anthony Ramos, and I, we all play these expert, you know, sort of meteorologist storm chasers, right? Which you have to know a lot about the weather. One thing that's really fun about meeting storm chasers is they're cowboy scientists, so they know a lot about the weather. But there's also a lot of technical jargon. So you're gonna see us here explain essentially the science and the weather. But I'll be honest with you, weather terms, if I asked you to describe a cloud right now, you probably wouldn't be able to do it. It's much harder than it looks.
It explodes in the atmosphere, creating an anvil. The vertical wind shear begins to rotate the updraft, forming a mesocyclone.
And here's the mystery.
We don't know how a tornado forms. We see the hook on the radar, but
What are all the invisible factors coming together? Every little detail that
has to be perfect. And it's a mix of what we know and everything we can't understand. It's part science.
Yeah, Daisy, I came up with that line. It's part science, part religion.
Part religion.
Brandon Perea. Oh, this is fun. Come on, baby. I remember this this dirt road that we were driving around during this section. We had to just keep going back and forth, and it's really crazy for about 8 hours at a time. No bathroom breaks. You get pretty close with your cast. Yeah, there's no boundaries when you're in a truck for 8 hours in hot Oklahoma.
Yeah, baby!
Here we go.
You see that? That's a tornado right there, baby. Get some photos of
And this is really true. You see actual storm chasers in Oklahoma, they do get this excited. We were like, okay, how do we feel about the weather? And then you hang out with real storm chasers and they're like the most excitable people on the planet. They look at a cloud forming, they look at a hook on the radar and they go freaking nuts. So that's the real deal.
See that? That's a tornado right there, baby. Get some
I also,
photos of that.
you see Sasha Lane in the back seat wearing goggles, steering a drone. That's a nightmare. Can you imagine being in a car for 8 hours and you can't see? This line that's, you know, it's part science, part religion. It's everything we know and everything we can't understand. That was sort of, as we kind of started, you know, diving into the film a little bit more and the community a little bit more. We were trying to just figure out how to kind of describe it. It was always something in Mark L. Smith's script in terms of how they were communicating with each other. But that was like the sort of mystery of a tornado, I think, was one thing that Daisy and I got to kind of like workshop that a little bit, because it's really about these two connecting, even though they're talking about, they're in separate worlds and separate cars and they've never met each other, but they're kind of bonding over this thing together, which is, it's cute. It's like a cloud meet cute. It's great. Daisy's the freaking best. If you guys don't know who Daisy Edgar-Jones is, she is one of the coolest actresses on the planet. Daisy is known for, you know, Normal People, Where the Crawdads Sing, Fresh, but she is the lead of this movie and it's all through her eyes and just delivers a killer performance. But Daisy is known for being a very serious, dramatic actress, and I don't think what people really understand is Daisy is freaking hilarious, is also like a one-woman party. So we went out to all sorts of fun bars in Oklahoma and we went line dancing and DJ, and we call her DJ EJ. She's our resident DJ. So anytime we're in trucks, we're hanging out with Daisy. She was the leader of the whole crew, came very prepared and just smokes this performance. Next section. Oh, here's a drone. There's a section in this movie where Brandon Perea throws this drone up into the air. He got it in one take. People went nuts. I've never thrown a drone up in the air, but I guess it's very, very hard, and he's a pro at it.
Please tell me you guys are seeing this right now.
We got twins! We got twins!
This twins line for Brandon Perea, I feel like is going to be following him around until he's dead, hopefully in old age. But I think it's going to be a part of every twins announcement for the rest of time. If you ever have twins, Brandon's going to be the face of it. That's how you announce babies, twin babies going forward, just Brandon's face.
Oh my goodness.
Is that normal?
Well, you know, one of my favorite bits in the whole movie is, I wish you had that clip. It's a great clip where Harry Haddon Patton, amazing actor. We're talking. I'm introducing Ben, our resident journalist from London. I ask him, where he's from, and then he gets very specific about where he's from. And apparently, every journalist, I can't remember the name of where it's like Shoreham. I don't remember whatever it's called. But he said it's literally where every journalist is actually from. So it's like the best inside joke of all time that I didn't get at the time, but Harry's made a lot of journalists very happy.
They're rotating. Wait, there's a name for that. There's a name for that.
Just watch.
There's a name for that.
Just enjoy it, man.
Fujiwara effect! Fujiwara effect!
Oh, they're pulling apart. One's gonna die out.
Go faster.
You ready?
This is also the funny thing about shooting a Twisters movie. The Twisters aren't there. The Twisters were actually in Oklahoma when we were shooting in tornado season in Tornado Alley. But then when we were actually shooting, we had to act to invisible tornadoes. So half of it is like you just looking up at random things. So it's really nice to see the tornadoes actually put in there.
Let's get our data.
Great. When I was 9 years old, I was driving with my aunt, and we were driving, I think it was like north on I-35, if I remember correctly, up to my aunt's ranch, and we had a car full of cousins, and there was a big tornado that went through Gerald, Texas, that a lot of people lost their lives in there, and we weren't in the tornado, but we got close enough to definitely scare my aunt and the car full of kids, and then we cleaned up after the tornado a couple days later, and that was an F5, which is the largest kind of tornado. And when you see the destruction of that, it's something I'll never forget. Never forget, for sure. It's crazy being in Oklahoma and the communities that have been affected by some of these massive tornadoes. Like, these dates, they don't forget. Fascinated by weather, but also it's sort of just a foregone conclusion that these things can drop down from the sky at any given time. Oh, this sequence is dope. This sequence, Lee Isaac Chung, our filmmaker, our director, designed this thing based on a video where you see a guy that's in his garage and a tornado comes through the neighborhood. He shoots outside of his garage, and you see all these trees, and you see his car, you see an entire life out there, and then he goes into his garage as a tornado passes, and a few seconds later, or a minute later, he goes outside and there's nothing left on the whole horizon. And so we wanted to kind of capture that thing of basically the destruction of a tornado in one shot. And so that's what we did. We did a oneer here. It's one shot where you have no cutting, and it's the sequence where we're leaving a rodeo and going into a pool. Kate, Daisy Edgar-Jones' character, leads us into a pool. And I think it's one of the most thrilling parts of the whole movie. You barely can breathe. And other piece of knowledge, Bill Paxton's son, the star of the original Twister, James Paxton, is in this scene as well. Also, random fact, James Paxton and I were both in Spy Kids 3D, my first movie.
Get in the car!
I didn't even want to pause it. That's great scene. I think one of the things that, there was this documentary that Daisy and I watched when we first got down to Oklahoma called Fire of Love. And it's about these two French volcanologists. It's such a specific passion, but it's kind of what bonds these two people together. And we were just talking about, in the face of danger, you can kind of find out who you really are. And I feel like that's sort of emblematic of the relationship between Tyler and Kate in this movie. It's two people that have this really specific interest and are sort of also bonded by the closer the closer you get to something, the more alive you feel, the more you feel like you know yourself, and the more fascinated you become. And I think that's what's really bonds this whole storm chasing community, is there are these people that not only are thrill seekers, but they're cowboy scientists, and there's just this like insane curiosity that the more they know about this sort of unexplainable phenomenon, the closer they want to get, the more they want to understand it. And there's this great quote from the movie or understanding is love's other name, which like, we just love that idea, which I think is just sort of applicable to so much, is like, when you really love something, all you want to do is understand it. I think it's a great theme for this movie, the curiosity of something and really living, because Daisy's character in the movie loses a lot of friends to this thing that she used to love. She used to love storm chasing and lost some of her best friends to that, is really trying to, and Tyler, my character, is really trying to remind her of why this thing is worthy and worthy of chasing, and making sure she goes home and returns to who she used to be and what made her happy. So I think it's a beautiful movie, and definitely check it out. Thanks for watching. Go see Twisters in cinema July 17th.